With all of the interest in Marvel's Black Panther movie, I thought it would be fun to discuss the real-life Wakandas in Africa's past. The movies aren't the only place you can find advanced African civilization. If you know where to look and if you know the history, you'll know that Africa's ancient past was filled with incredible kingdoms and empires. Real-life Wakanda number 1, Merowe. Merowe was located in what is now the Sudan, and it was a metropolis in the ancient world. The Greeks referred to Merowe as the island of Merowe, because back then the Sudan was very different. There were large bodies of water that crisscrossed in front of the city, and so from a distance it made it look like an island. Historians refer to Merowe as the ancient world's Birmingham, because it was an industrial city. The Nubians were at the forefront of a scientific revolution. Back then, smelting iron was a rarely understood science, and the Nubians became the very best at it. They shipped their iron products all over the world, and they were universally considered to be some of the best ironsmiths in the world. The Nubians became incredibly wealthy as a result of their iron trade, and their city grew in its stature and its opulence. According to the Greek historian Herodotus, the Persian emperor Camsus became jealous and he attempted to conquer the city, but his army died on its way to the city. Merowe was a part of the Kushite Empire, which at various points was the largest empire on earth. They conquered the Egyptians, they fought the Persians, they fought the Assyrians. They were literally one of the most formidable empires in world history. Real-life Wakanda number 2, the city of Benin. Most of the Europeans who came to the city compared it to Amsterdam, which at that point was the finest city in Europe. But Benin was filled with broad streets and grand architecture, and it was filled with artisans who created some of the most sophisticated bronze sculptures in the world. The city traded with Europe for centuries before the British stormed the city and burnt it to the ground as the result of a trade dispute. Real-life Wakanda number 3, Great Zimbabwe. Most of you are pretty familiar with Great Zimbabwe. It's the large round structure that you can go visit today. But when Karl Mausch stumbled into the city, he thought that he'd found the palace of the Queen of Sheba. The site was littered with gold and jewels and other relics. And as he explored it further, he was so struck by the architecture, which is built entirely out of stone and entirely without mortar, that he believed it may have been a Phoenician palace. At that point, European archaeology was obsessed with proving that Europeans had settled certain places in Africa long before the natives, so Mauch and his team tore Great Zimbabwe apart. What you see today is the remnants of a brutal archaeological survey. But Great Zimbabwe was once home to an empire that traded with cultures as far as Arabia and China. They harvested gold and ivory and other raw materials and then shipped those products to their trading partners. The city itself spanned over 1,700 acres and housed a population of over 18,000 people. Real-life Wakanda number 4, the city of Timbuktu. West Africa was once home to rulers who were among the wealthiest monarchs on the planet, and they used their wealth to spread scholarship and education throughout their kingdom. West Africa became globally renowned for its scholarship and education, where anyone who wanted to come and study the Greek classics or medicine or dentistry or any other subject could come and study in a comfortable setting at universities that were comparable to any in the world. The scholars of West Africa maintained some of the largest book collections in the world, and graduates from their universities were given turbans as opposed to diplomas as a signature of their life achievement. Now, I could go on and on forever about all of the incredible civilizations that once covered the African continent, but I think you get the point. The movies aren't the only place you can find incredible African civilizations. As a matter of fact, you can grab your passport and hop on a plane and go see some of the ruins of African civilization today in places that will actually appreciate your tourism dollars. If you want to learn more, you can buy my book off Amazon.com. It's called Nubia, The Rise and Fall of African Empires. You can tune into this YouTube channel. Every week we'll discuss a different aspect of African civilization and how African civilizations help shape the modern world that we live in. You can go on iTunes and you can listen to the podcast, Podcasting Nubia. That's available every week as well. And you can follow me on Instagram at Author of Nubia, and you can send me an email if you have a question at podcastingnubia@gmail.com. My name is Andre Samuels, and I look forward to being your guide through Nubia.